All right, and welcome to this third edition of the 2022 Baseball Umpire System Mechanics video. As I've mentioned before, my name is Jake Santh from the Sioux Falls area. And over this past offseason, South Dakota Umpires Association has now adopted the Collegiate Commissioners Association Umpire System Mechanics to be used by all South Dakota Umpires Association umpires. And so the purpose of this video is to give an overview of the umpire system mechanics as described in the CCA manual. As we've talked about in the prior videos, the philosophy of the umpire system is that it's the basic set of mechanics for all umpires. The 3 and 4 umpire system build upon the umpire system. And because the umpire system is the most difficult, as each umpire has more responsibility, angle over distance becomes paramount. These mechanics are not the be-all, end-all for positioning, but they lend a great guide for proper use of mechanics. Lastly, the South Dakota Umpires Association mechanics previously adopted a philosophy of situational positioning. That is, if we have a certain number of outs, if runners are on base in certain positions, that's where we go because we want to be in position for the most likely play to occur. The CCA mechanics take a slightly different approach in that rather than looking at what the most likely play is with the ball being put in play, they look to what is the most likely outcome with the ball not being put in play, i.e. a back hit, which we'll talk about later on in different clinics. When we start getting into some of those situations where, these would be more applicable, but we're no longer going off of, if we have 2 outs, we're going to the B position automatically. That thought process is no more. So for this portion of the clinic, we're going to talk about runners on first and second. In this situation, we're going to first talk about our pre-pitch position. This is middle C. It's our pre-pitch position. The reason for this is we still have a good angle on the pickoff attempt of R1. We can also take a couple read steps for a steal of R2 at third base. Our outfield coverage is nothing different than what we talked about in our first lesson with runners on base. We got the wedge. The only time the plate umpire is going to have coverage for fly balls to the outfield is if a fielder goes to the foul line. On plays within the infield, U1, move with the play. That's the simple, easiest advice I can give. Move with the play. Let the ball take you to the play. Rely on your baseball knowledge. Plate umpire, as we talked about in the previous video, while this is not an improper mechanic, I'd much rather see the plate umpire stand right about here at the edge of the dirt circle to rule on any runner's lane interference, hold foot, swipe tag, or any overthrows of the baseball. On clean hits to the outfield, this is not a rotation like we had with R1 only. Plate umpire, we're going to assume that on a clean hit, R1 is going to, R2 will score from second base. That said, we need to keep the plate umpire home. And so U1 will have the responsibility of R1 and their touch at second base and any subsequent play at third base, as well as the batter runner's touch at first base and any subsequent play at second base. Plate umpire still would have general responsibility on overthrows. This is the second rotation that we have in the umpire system. We have runners on first and second. We have a fly ball hit to center field, and we either have a single tag of R2 or the double tag. In that case, plate umpire, who does not have catch, no catch responsibilities in this situation because we're in the wedge, will observe the retouch of R2 at second base and be in a position to rule on any play at third base, should there be a play. And remember, a play is ball and runner. If R1 chooses to attempt to, if R1 attempts to go to second base, that would be the call of the base umpire, or U1. In this situation, here we have a fly ball down the left field line with no catch. This is in the plate umpire's fair foul, or excuse me, catch, no catch territory, and after ruling on fair and foul, the plate umpire would retreat to the point of the plate to rule on any potential play. U1, just like with a clean hit, will have responsibility for R1 to third base and any responsibilities on the batter runner. In this situation, we have a fly ball down the right field line with a catch. Some would say this is a situation where we need to rotate and have the plate umpire come up. That's not correct, because we have the foul line that is threatened. In umpiring, we have our priorities. We have fair foul, catch, no catch, then safe and out. Plate umpires, you can rule on the fair and foul. U1, line up the catch and the tag, follow the ball, follow the play, and get a good angle. That's my advice on this particular play. And that will conclude runners on first and second for the 2-umpire system under the CCA mechanics as adopted by the South Dakota Umpires Association. On our next clinic, we will talk about situations where we have the bases loaded.